Hello, everybody. It's Deanna here with our Crafty Hour number 70. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to load up my computer, get everybody on board, and then we are going to get started with some crafting. So hello, everyone. Whew, there we go. We are loaded, locked, and loaded. So hop on, say hello. I'll give it a couple of minutes. Before we get started, I am hoping I remembered everything today. I totally was ready for this last week. And then since I've been home, it's kind of been a little bit of a gong show. So fingers crossed, I've got all of my goodies ready. And what we don't have, well, we will just wing it. That's what we do. So hello. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Crafty Hour number 70. Hello, friend. Thanks for hopping on. Good morning, Sarah. Welcome, welcome. We are going to be using Uniquely Creative today, which is an amazing company out of Australia. And they had a super cute line that was called Mint and Mistletoe. We thought all of these were just adorable, especially the little puppies. So we are going to be creating 3 cards together today. Good morning. Hello, Judith. Hello, Jackie. Welcome, welcome. Uniquely Creative, Crafty Hour number 70. So I have designed 3 cards. I will admit they're kind of my traditional layering style. I did not use the ones, any of the sample ideas that came in your kit. So you will have a little bit more, hopefully, to create. I will also admit I have not watched Courtney's Crafty Hour from last week. So I don't even know what her cards look like. For those that don't know, although I do think all of you probably know, I missed last week's Crafty Hour because I was driving across the country. Not planned. We were in Toronto for the weekend, got stuck there because Air Canada, which is the Canadian airline here, went on strike. My flight got canceled, and my husband and I decided rather than getting stuck that we would rent a car and drive across the country. So last Thursday, I was actually just leaving Saskatchewan. So we drove for many, many hours, and I totally missed all the Crafty Hour excitement. So my apologies if I do repeat anything that Courtney has said. It was just one of those weeks. So, and I see we are celebrating Fran's birthday today. So very, very, very happy birthday to you, Fran. Very good way to celebrate. You are correct. So thank you for hopping on and spending some of your time with me today. So I did post the homework back, a week and a half ago of what we're going to use. So I have pulled my homework. We have card 1, card 2, and then card 3. I said an approximately 3-inch circle die. That can be approximate. I'm going to be using the tonic scallop, but you can use any kind you want. It can be the special one with the stitching. Any of the dies will work. We just need something to create a circle. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to set this off to the side because we don't need it till card 3. I also posted a picture with the die cuts that I wanted you to pull out. So hopefully you've got that. I'm going to set this aside. Hopefully you've got that sorted out. I did not separate it by card. We just have them all here. So we'll do it as we go. And then I think that's it. I think we are good to start going, and we'll see if I've got everything that I need. So we're going to start, if everybody is ready, and you should have everything else. You should have your papers, your leftover papers, that is. You're going to have some ribbon. You're going to have some gems. You're going to have your silver gems, and then you're going to have your envelopes, which I will be cutting down, not envelopes, cards. I will be cutting down. I need to get some goodies here. All right. Yes, I was going to use that scallop and stitching too, Dawn, but just in case people didn't have it, that works. All right, let's get started because I do have 3 cards that I want to create with you. 4. So this is going to be our first one. Now on this one for your homework, I did suggest that you could use silver foil if you want. I'm going to be using the teal foil, but of course, if you want, silver foil will work absolutely perfect with this as well. So just going to pull out the homework that I asked you for so we can double check. Susan, if you go out and go back in to Clipper Street, it's totally fine. It's fine on my end. I know some people were having that yesterday. That is not something I control. That is something that Facebook controls. So if you go to our page, Clipper Street Scrapbook Company, you'll see it there in total full size. That's something that Facebook started, we think yesterday. We're not really sure, but that is not something I control, unfortunately. So for teal or silver, whatever is your choice, we've got a 4 by 5 3/8. That is pre-cut. Then we should have a 2 3/8 by 3 3/8. And then a 1 7/8 by 3 3/8. Hopefully those are, that's going to be yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And then we have, I don't know what this one's for. How funny is that? And then we're going to have a 3 by 4 piece of white. No, this is actually hunky-dory foil, but the precious metal foil is totally fine as well. But I just use the hunky-dory foil because I love it and I have it in all the colors. So that is the one that I tend to use. Now you are going to need a card base. So if you grab one of your card bases, these bases are Australian size, so they are not quite the same size as you can see. They are a little bit different, so that is okay. We're going to work with what we have. So we're going to start by folding that card. It should actually already be folded, and we're going to trim that card to 5 1/2. So I'm just going to take it. It is a thick, thick card. And I am going to go to 5 1/2, and I'm just going to cut off a little bit. Okay, so just so that it is not quite so big. So now I have a card that is 5 1/2 tall. Okay, so hopefully you've got all of that cut. Now, we're going to hold this up and look at that. It fits perfectly. So we are going to just glue that right onto our card. All right, so let's see if my glue hasn't had any love in like a week and a half. I have not been creating. I have been kidding. So let's hope it still works. I got home and I realized after being away for over a week that I had left my Barely Art unglued. It was the one that I had in my glue press. Luckily, it did not get plugged up, which is amazing. Yeah, soft blueberry will work. Silver will work. This one is technically called frosted glass. And I just keep a lot of that in stock. All right, next one I want you to do is find this piece of paper. They are all single-sided, and it does have some, I guess you could say some floral, some berries at the top, as well as the bottom. So if you want to hunt through your pile, I'll give you a moment to hunt through that, and we are going to cut a piece of that as well. So have a look. And I am just going to write down these measurements. 5 1/4. Yeah, we call it teal, but it is called frosted green. I don't think it's a frosted green. It's just a weird name, so I always do that. Okay, and I'm going to double check that I got the right measurement on there. Because like I said, last week I was all prepared. I knew what I was doing. Today, not so much. Not so much. Okay, hopefully you all found that paper because we are going to cut it. Now, I'm going to take the one that is at the top, which has a little bit more of the berries. The bottom seems to have a little bit less. I'm going to take the top of it. I'm going to put it into my trimmer sideways, and I'm going to cut it to just under 4. 3 7/8, which is right in between 3 3/4 and 4, right in between there. So not quite in half. The bottom's going to have a little bit more, and we're going to use this later, so I'm just, at least I think we are. I'm going to put it off to the side. 3 7/8 is your first cut. And then we're going to take it to 5 1/4. And that's just going to cut off a little bit right there. 5 1/4. So this paper now measures 5 1/4 long by 3 7/8. And if I put it on there, that looks perfect. Okay, I've got a little border of that foil, whether it be the teal or the silver, all the way around. Now, when I glue it on, I want to have my berries at the top because that's going to be where I'm going to see it the most. So let's go ahead and glue that on. Okay. Perfect. It is gorgeous paper. I love Uniquely Creative. Very different, and that's always what I like. All right. So that one is done. Oh, I see what I've done. That's okay. I'm going to show you how we make things work. I see now. All right, next one. I want you to find this paper. We're going to use the stripey on this paper. So go ahead and find this one. Stripey on this paper. I love that they took these papers and did kind of like a double, let's see, let's do 5 1/4. How they have done 2 patterns on one paper. I think that's really cool because you're actually getting a lot of card fronts with it. More bang for your buck. Okay, we're going to take a strip of the stripe at 1 3/4. So go ahead and cut it, a strip of it, 1 3/4. I love a good stripe. I love a good dot. Those are patterns that always kind of calm down your eye. I know that sounds crazy, but it does. And then we're going to trim it to 5 1/4. So we're just going to take a little bit off of that. Okay, so this striped piece is 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. Now, as I'm looking at this, I can see here that I screwed up. This is why we don't do things when I'm away. Because this technically should be 5 1/4. But that's okay because I cut mine to the same, so that means that we're all going to fix it together, which is totally fine. Okay, so find this little piece that looks like this, and we're going to cut it in half lengthwise. So just take it roughly, doesn't have to be exact, although mine are pretty darn close, but just cut it into 2 long pieces. 2 French fries. Okay, now we only need our foil on the bottom, so we're just going to patch it. I do this all the time. Embarrassingly enough, I do, because I changed my mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the stripey paper, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put some double-sided tape. I do find tape works the best because it's not going to move on us. So I'm just going to put 1 strip down across the bottom, just 1. Peel that off. You could also use tape runner. And we're going to just put a little border on the bottom, kind of like that, just a little border. Okay, that's the first one. And then we're just going to match it up with the second one, and then we'll trim off the excess. So I'm going to line it up, continue going. Look at that. You can't even tell. And then we're going to snip it off. We only need the foil on the bottom. We're not going to see the foil on the top, so we will not worry about it. And there we go. all fixed. Okay. And while you guys are doing that, I also want you to find your ribbon. So we're going to use some of this white sheer ribbon. I have to say, I used to use ribbon in my classes, probably in every single class. And I just haven't done it in a long, long time. So it's kind of fun having it. Now, I like to kind of cheat when I do my ribbon. So I keep it all as one long piece. I'm not going to cut a piece of it right now yet. I'm going to take some of my tape and I'm going to put 2 pieces along the back. Really, I only need them where that foil is because I'm just going to wrap the ribbon around the bottom. So a couple of pieces on the back should do. I'm going to take off the backing and I'll show you what we're going to do. Not going to cut it ahead of time. I'm going to take one end, and I know some of you that have been around in my classes for years and years and years know I do this. We're going to take one and it's going to go towards the bottom. So I'm going to attach it like this on the bottom. Then I'm going to wrap it around the front. I want it to be taut, but I don't want to bend it. So I don't want it to be too tight. And then I'm going to attach it on the back. And then we're going to snip that off. Now we're not done yet, but we're going to attach it to the card first. Be a little bit easier and you'll see what I mean. So that way I'm not wasting ribbon on the back side because we're not going to see the back side. I've just got it across the front and attached it the back. So once we've got that set, then we can go ahead and add some foam tape to the back. Now, very important, I want this foam tape to also be useful in keeping that ribbon in place. So I'm going to make sure that I put that foam tape for sure over the ends of the ribbon. That's just going to act as an extra stability there. It's not going to want to pull up. So do make sure that you get it all the way across. Now with the ribbon on the bottom and the foil on the bottom, we are going to come up about 1/4 of an inch. Just kind of like that. Okay, make sure that that is nice and secure on there. All right. And then again, I'm going to keep all this ribbon together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the ends and I'm going to feed it underneath the ribbon on the right hand side. So you can see here, hopefully, I have just fed it underneath. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. And again, by keeping it all as one, I am going to be saving on my ribbon. So I'm going to tie a knot. And you can do a double knot if you want, just so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Probably should have ironed my ribbon, gosh. And then I'm just going to trim the tails, and I like to trim them on an angle. Okay. So it's just a faux knot there. Looks like we tied the 2 ends together, but we did not. Okay, so that's the ribbon portion done of this. We're going to set that aside for a moment. And then we're going to find another piece of paper. So I'm going to leave that paper there for you. This is kind of a faded poinsettia pattern, kind of a vintagey pattern. It does have some dots on it. We're going to use this top portion here. So go ahead and find that one. And we are going to cut a piece of that. All right, everybody find that paper? I know this kit came with a lot of papers. I don't know if Courtney told you, but they tried to convince us to do different like a mix and match thing, and we're like, nope, we get way more product when we do this kit. So okay, now I'm not going to use the dot part. I'm going to use the top part that does not have dots, and my first cut is going to be just under 3. So we're going to take it to 2 7/8, which is just under 3. There is the measurement there, 2 7/8. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut it to just under 4. So take that. We're going to cut off some of those poinsettias. It's going to be 3 7/8. 3 7/8. Now, homework was a 3x4 white. So if we have a look, oh, it's perfect. That should fit together perfectly with that white all the way around. So go ahead and glue that together. Okay, we're getting there, guys. There we go. So I'm just going to set that aside, and we're going to go to some die cuts. We don't need a huge amount of die cuts on here, but we do need some. So we're going to take our large floral cluster. This was a die cut. And we're also going to take the holly and berries. Those are the 2 that we're going to need. And we're going to start with this big one first. So we need that, and then our holly berries. Okay. And we are going to cut this. Now let me see if I can, I think. No, it goes like that. Okay, so perfect. So if you hold it kind of like mine, we have the big sprig up here. We have the 2 sprigs down here. If you kind of hold it like that, what we're going to do is take our scissors, and we're just going to cut right up the center like that. So let me put this on a piece of paper so that you can match that cut up. We are going to get a couple of uses out of this. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not fussy cutting. We are just cutting it straight up the edge, just like that. All right, we're going to go back to our double-sided tape, and we're going to put a couple of pieces on the back on each side. So I'm going to put a piece here, and I'm going to put a piece here, just like that. That's on the back side on the short sides. Okay, and we're going to remove that. And then what we're going to do is just take this, and we're going to just attach a little bit to the back side of both pieces. Let's just see. I think I'll just do it like that. Just kind of like that. Okay, so it's just sticking to that tape that we put on the back side. Okay, so we just cut that big die cut in half and attached it. Now when it comes time to putting it on, it's going to kind of go like that. You might have to tuck it slightly underneath the ribbon if the ribbon is in the way. That's okay. But we are going to have to add a piece of foam tape on the top only. So I'm going to flip it, and on the top, keeping in mind which is the top, I'm going to put some foam tape across, just like that. And I may end up adding some to the sides, but I'm going to get it on first so I have it in the right place. So I may use this little bit in a second. The rest is just going to get glue. Oh, Sharon, you are so right. The colors are stunning on it. It's a really pretty Christmas line. And I love, one of my favorite sheets is this, and we're going to get to this one in a minute. I love this one. Love it. Okay, so let's take it, and I'm going to come down from the top a little bit, centered side to side. So it looks like that. I do have a little space here. And then see here, if you want to add some of that foam tape under the die cut, feel free to. That'll just give it, again, some strength, some stability. It won't be squishy there. But I just find it easier to do it after, when I know I'm not going to be in the wrong place. All right, we should have that done. We're almost done this card. We're going to go to this sheet that I love with all of the different images. And we're going to cut out the Have a Wonderful Christmas. The teal and the red is super pretty together. And the easiest way is just to go ahead and cut it like that, because we're going to also be using all three of these. So I just find it easier to cut it like that. And then I'm going to just kind of get it so that I'm close to the teal Have a Wonderful Christmas. Just going to kind of get it close to that. Now we do need to trim this down to fit onto our teal. So I'm going to take a little bit of white off. I can probably give you a rough measurement, about 3 1/4, I'm going to say. Yeah, but probably about 3 1/4. I think that's right. Let me double check that, but I think, oopsie, let's check that away. 3 1/4. That should be about right that way. Yep, looks good. And then we're going to do 2 1/4. And that is going to give us a little bit of white all the way around, which is perfect. It's what I would like. So it should be 3 1/4 long, 2 1/4 tall, and that fits perfectly onto the teal. So go ahead and glue those together. Whew. Watching the time here, I want to make sure we get through all the cards. Let's put that on. Okay, we're going to foam tape this onto our card now. Oh, it's a good thing you can't hear my stomach growling. Good gracious. That's a very loud growl. It's been a very busy morning. Okay, foam tape. And we're going to put that right in the center, just like so. Now, yes, this had a word, but I like my dimension. So I brought in the Merry Christmas word. And this one is going to fit right over top of those words. So we don't need to worry. We're going to put foam tape on the back. Let's see, did I bring my, oh, I did, little pop dots. Oops, come on. Apparently I need some coffee too. There, and we'll do one. I love these little dots when I'm just being lazy and don't want to cut all the foam into small squares. Okay, so foam tape, and then cover up the words as best you can. So move it around. You'll be able to cover up a bit. What I don't want you to worry about, and I'll show you in a minute, is right here. See here? Take a quick peek. Don't worry about that because we're going to put a die cut over top of that. But you can see that it has covered up all the other words. No problem. So now we're going to put this right here and cover that up, and it'll be perfect. So for that, I'm going to put a little pop dot, and then under the leaves, at the tips of the leaves, we're going to need double, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Let me put this on, and then I'll show you right at the end of each leaf. Has to be double foam tape, and you'll see in a sec when I get my fingers out of the way. 1 and 2. Okay. So have a peek. There is my holly with my berries. I don't think they sell the nozzles, Dawn, on their own. I think you have to just use a new bottle. Sometimes what happens is, it gets stuck and it doesn't want to come out. I've had that happen once, usually because I didn't seal it well enough. That was on me. So 1 foam tape there, double at the ends, and then we're going to put this in there, kind of right underneath and block, and then it just is going to sit perfectly. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do with this is I'm going to take some of these silver dots, and I'm going to take a couple of the larger ones, and I'm going to put them in the corner. I just use the bottom corner, and then that poinsettia, I'm going to put a baby one in. And of course, you can go back and do those anytime you wish. That is going to look like that. And that card is done. Card number 1 done. And we are going to shift right over to card number 2 because I'm looking at the time, getting a little worried. Okay. So everybody good with card number 1? Let me get this out of the way. We're going to hop into card number 2. And card number 2, we're going to do this one because he's so cute. We're going to do our little puppy. So for this one, where's my homework? This one I suggested either the red glitter, or if you wanted red foil or red cardstock. It was totally up to you. You needed 5 pieces of red glitter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got all of those. So I'm going to get started on this one. And we need a card base for this. And again, we need to trim that card base down a bit. We're going to make it 5. Whoopsie, why do I keep doing that? 5.5. Oh my gosh, that's a 1. I keep doing that today. So we're just going to take it down a little bit so it is kind of a normal size, what I call a normal size. So 5.5. And that large red should fit right on it. And it does. So go ahead and glue that together. Now I'm going to start gluing mighty fast here so we can get through this card and get on to our last one. Ugh, my glue is starting to get to the end here. Okay, so we're going to add, I'm using red glitter. You can use red cardstock. You can use red foil. Your choice. Okay. So that one is done. Now paper, we are going to start with our red stripey. I love a good stripe. So find your red stripe, your diagonal. And we are going to trim this down. Let's see, that should be, I'm just going to double check my measurements. I think it should be 5.25. Perfect. So just like our previous card, we're going to take this diagonal, and we're going to cut it first at 3 7/8, which is just under 4. So not quite half. 3 7/8 by 5.25. 5 1/4. And that should fit. Now, whenever you do gluing to glitter, it's a little challenging. Tape runners do not work so well. I have found that this liquid glue works. You could also use the double-sided tape. That works great. But yeah, you got to make sure you have enough glue on there as well. Glitter can be a little challenging, so don't be chintzy with your glue. You want it to fit, and there's that texture. All right. So we've got that, and I think this is this paper. I'm just going to confirm. Yep, that is that paper. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to go back to the paper that we cut in our last card, which was this dotty paper right here. This was the leftover piece. Okay, so this is the one we're going to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the dots at the top. Doesn't really matter, but that's what I'm going to do. Dots at the top, and I'm going to cut it to 3 1/4. Dots at the top, so just over halfway. Did I do it? Yeah, we can do it that way. We can do it whatever. And then next one is 4 1/4. So I'm going to come right to there. So I have a piece that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And it should, fingers crossed, there it is, should have a matchy match to the red glitter. And it does. So go ahead and glue that together. That was that paper that was left over from our last card. Ooh, my glue's getting down there. I've been doing a lot of stuff before I went away. I'm gonna need some more glue. Okay, we're going to foam tape this to the center of the card. So I'm gonna flip it over, grab out some foam tape. Oops, I think my paper just moved. And there we go. And I'm going to foam tape it to the center. As even top to bottom, side to side as I can. I put the little flower over here. We're not going to see a lot of it, maybe a little bit, but not a huge amount. All right. Next paper we're going to cut is another one of those halfies. This time we are going to use the dotted paper. So find your dotty paper. It's got kind of triangles on the top. Okay. And I'm going to cut a strip that's 1 3/4. 1, and I chose that number because I can make full rows of the dots. I don't like it when my dots are halfway. So 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And fingers crossed. Ah, perfect. That will fit onto your red glitter from your homework, or your red foil, or your red cardstock, whichever. So let's glue that back together now. Just like so. Okay. And we're going to be gluing this flat right about here. I'm going to need a little bit of foam tape at the top and a little bit of foam tape at the bottom. I think I'm going to just use a couple of little strips for this one. We're going to put glue in the middle, so we don't need to worry about any foam tape in the center. I'll show you this once I get my fingers out of the way. There we go. So a little strip of foam tape at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to put some glue in the middle. I will say a little, and I don't know if it's right or wrong because of course I didn't go to school to learn how to make cards. I have found my recipe, and I don't mean to do it, but my recipe is usually 3 patterns. So you can see here we have the diagonal, we've got a dot, and then we're using this more soft pattern on there. That's just a habit. I don't plan it, it just happens. Okay, I just came in maybe about 1/4 of an inch from the edge there and attach that. Now the last little piece of paper that we're going to cut is going to be this one, which is called 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly. This is from that cut apart paper. And we're going to trim it down to fit onto this red glitter. So go ahead and trim a little bit around the edges until it fits. I'll see if I can get you a measurement. I don't remember what measurement I did. Let's see. Oh, well, that one kind of fits. So I think I need to cut my red just a little bit. Yeah, that one works. So trim it down. You don't need to take a lot off. You're going to still get that white border. This red glitter I had you cut was 2.5 by 3.5, so it should be just under 2.5 by just under 3.5. If you do that, should fit. You can always trim your red, so don't panic if you're using glitter foil cardstock and it's a little too big. Just go ahead and trim it down. Nice sparkly all the way around. We're going to foam tape this to the center of our card. So foam tape, just like that. And I'm going to go over, let's see, I'm going to go over, I'm going to say about 2 rows of dots over. And I'm pretty even top to bottom. And now we just get to decorate. Decorate. So we're going to add our greeting in a minute. We need these 2 poinsettias that I asked you to fussy cut. So I'm going to pull that one and that one. We're also going to need the puppy. And we're also going to need the puppy's bow, because the puppy needs a bow. So those are the little goodies that we need. And I'm going to start with the puppy's bow. I'm just going to put him, going to get some foam tape, and I'm going to put a bigger bow on the puppy because I feel like he needs it. So I'm just going to put a little bit bigger, and I'm going to just cover up the bow that's there. Oh my gosh. Super cute. And he's going to sit over here. So what I need to do is I need double foam tape. So I'm going to take a piece of double foam tape. So I'm going to fold it in half. And I'll show you here. We're going to put it right about like that. Okay, so you can see here I've come down a little bit from my red words, just a little. That's where the puppy is going to sit. And just because I want a little bit more stability, I'm also going to put a little piece, maybe 1/2 inch, right in the corner. And you'll see why as soon as we attach it. So find your puppy. He's going to sit down just a little bit. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And mine is very sturdy now. When I push, he's good. Double check yours. And there we go. Isn't he adorable? Okay, so then we're going to take our larger poinsettia, that's all red. We're going to put some glue on the back. And let me show you. We are going to, I'll show you on the real card here, we're going to tuck right in and cover those hollies and go as close to the words as possible. Now, we can also move these around, so if you're not sure if it fits, you can see here, I'm kind of doing what we call auditioning, going, does it work better this way? Does it work better this way? Rotate it till it just nestles right in there. And you'll see it just cuddles up. Okay, then the second one that you fussy cut, we're going to put some foam tape on it and put it right over top. And that's going to give us a little bit of the greenery, a little bit of the leaves. Now, I loved these gems. Gosh, they were just stunning. 2 different greens and a red. We're going to choose 3 of the smallest green. Now, I did the light green, but you know you can do the darker green too. I don't know why I chose the light one, because they both will look great. And I put them in the middle. Oops, that one did not come with it. I put them right in the middle of my poinsettia, all touching. Just so it was like a little sparkle there, all touching. Now the last thing we're going to do is add a greeting. And that is going to come on, let's see, what sheet did I find it on? Gosh. I have so many papers. Oh. Well, I don't know what sheet I found it on. I'm going to use a different one. So it looks like I used a gray Christmas wishes. You guys may have it. I wonder if I only have one of those. I'm wondering where it came from. I don't know. If you saw my mess, you'd know. I don't think it's a die cut. I think it was a cut apart. Oh, so I'm so silly. I've been looking at it right the whole time. It's right there on the paper that is the arches. So I'm going to cut that one out. And I am going to cut it pretty thin because it's going to fit onto here. So I got to cut it fairly thin, and it is easier to do it while it's still on the paper. Like I said, I think I need another cup of coffee and maybe even some breakfast would probably be a good idea. Ooh, and I think I cut mine too thin. Okay, and then we're going, oh no, I cut it perfect. We are going to glue it onto the red. We're just going to get a little border all the way around. This is my red's a little too long. There we go. You can use any of those strips, any of them. They all were working. Even the teal will work. Okay, a little bit of glue. We might get most of the next card done. Next card's fairly easy, but I did want to give you 3 cards. Now this is going to go right underneath the puppy's feet, and what I'm going to do is a strip of foam tape all the way across. Maybe I'll use my foam strips. And then on no, we might be okay. We'll try it just like that. Did I do single? Yeah, I did do single. Okay, so a strip of foam tape, and I'm going to just tuck it kind of right underneath the feet, even it up a little bit, and there we go. Perfect. That one is done. Super adorable. Okay, I'm going to jump into the last card. We'll see. I may run a few minutes over, but fingers crossed. This is where we need our die cut machine because we are going to die cut that circle in a few minutes. Everybody okay? Move that one aside. And we are going to create this card right here with our Santa and the presents and the tree. So we're going to create a little scene here. So for this one, where did I put my goodies? Oh, I just need, this one hardly had any homework. All you needed was the circle. That was it. So let's find a card base. And we are going to trim that card base down. Let's see, I did 4 3/4. So we only need one cut, and that's going to be at 4 3/4. So we'll put this in here, cut, and I have a card base that is 4 3/4. This is not a square, not a square. Okay, the next paper I'm going to get is this plain, kind of like a greeny paper. I keep thinking they're double-sided, but it's kind of plain. It's kind of green. It's got some distressed edges on it. And this is the next paper that we are going to cut. And I'm going to tell you that measurement here. While you guys are looking through your goodies, by 4. So we're going to start with the 4-inch cut first. Let's start with 4 inches. So I'm going to put it into the trimmer at 4 inches, cutting that basically in half, 4 inches. And then I'm going to rotate it to 4 5/8. Now 4 5/8 is just under 4 3/4. Remember, we made the card 4 3/4, so we want to go just under 4 3/4. And if we hold that up, that should give us a little border of white all the way around. So go ahead and glue that on. Oh, get some more glue. Okay. Next paper we're going to cut is this gingham, which I love a good gingham. Who does not love a good gingham? Now this one I gave it a little extra border, so let me confirm here. 4 1/2, maybe I did not. 3 3/4. We can adjust this. So we're going to do the gingham. It is also those 2-card panels. So let's start first with the 3 3/4. I'm actually going to change that measurement to 4 3/8. That's going to be much better. So first measurement, did I literally just cut that wrong? I did. Okay, Deanna's turn to patch. That's what I do when I'm thinking one measurement in my head, and I cut another. You were supposed to cut it to 4 3/4. Hopefully you didn't zone out like I did. We'll just put this back together. Whew. Let's do that again. 3 3/4. Okay, 3 3/4, and then we're going to do this to just under 4 1/2. 4 3/8. So 3 3/4 first by 4 3/8. That is giving us perfect. It's giving us that bigger border all the way around. You're going to see that light green paper a little bit more. So go ahead and glue that. 3 3/4 by 4 3/8. That's going to give you a bigger border all the way around. All right. And you won't be able to see my little patchy patch. I patch a lot. All right, perfect. So that gives you a bigger border all the way around. Now we're going to die cut. So I'm going to find this paper. This is a lined notebook type paper. I'm just going to cut it. So this is what we're going to die cut out a circle from. All right. So this is the notebook paper. It was attached to this green frame paper. I mean, this is such a great card front right there. So this is the one we're going to use. And all I want you to do is die cut out a circle. And this is approximately 3 inches. If it's a little bit more, if it's a little bit less, all of it will work. As you can see from the card, it's not going to be a huge panic if it's a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. So I'm going to die cut this. Anywhere on those lines is totally fine. It's a circle, so we can adjust that. So I'm just going to cut it right there. Let me just put it through my die cutting machine. Okay. And this is the circle that I have. Okay, yours can be a plain circle. It can be a stitch circle, whatever type you would like. Just give you a second because I know some of you may have to get up a bit and get it. And actually, we don't need any more paper cutting. So with this one, we are going to foam tape it. So let's put some foam tape on the back. Piece there and a piece, oopsie, there. And I want the lines to go horizontal, and I am going to take it center, top to bottom, and then way closer to the right hand side. So fairly even top to bottom. No, mine is a 3-inch, 3-inch circle, Kathy. If you do a 3 3/4, it's going to take a good majority of your paper, maybe too much. I would try and aim for a 3 1/4 or a 3 1/2 perhaps. But mine is 3 inches, pretty much on the dot. Okay. Now let's bring in our die cuts. And just making sure, yes, a 3-inch approximate. Let's make sure I told you the right amount. We're going to bring in our die cuts and we're going to do the tree first. And what we're going to do is we're just going to glue that tree flat right about there, right up in the top left corner. We're going to snuggle a little bit of it probably underneath the circle. If it's in the way, just cut it because you won't see that part. And this is just going to be flat. Come on. So glue that tree flat in the back. Star goes to the top of the gingham paper. So as long as you stick that right like that, you should be good. Maybe I'll even move mine slightly over, just like that. Okay. And then I had you fussy cut out the tag and I said to remove the hole. So this is where my third paper comes in from, essentially. I've got the gingham, I've got the lined, and then we're going to use this one. And we're going to loop it through. And actually, I'll show you, we'll cut it this time. I just take it, I fold it in half. You could do it either way. I'm going to put the ribbon through the half folded part. Oh, come on. Open up that hole and stick it in. Now you could do it the other way too, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's whatever way you want to do it. And then I'm just going to trim my tails on an angle. They fray a little bit less when they're on an angle, and of course sheer ribbon likes to fray. So we're just going to add the ribbon to the top. Now when I flip it over so that my ribbon is on the bottom, okay, so I flipped it over, we are going to put double foam tape on the left, single foam tape on the right. So double, I just fold it in half on the left, single on the right. So this is 2 times, and this is 1 time. I didn't quite go to the bottom. I probably should. Okay, so when I'm looking at the back side and the ribbon is on the bottom, double here, single here. We're going to take it almost to the top of the card. Let me show you. Oh, that's perfect. Just like that. Okay, so it's going to overlap and overlap. It is at the top of the gingham. And just go ahead and attach that. Couple more, and then we are done. So we need our presents, we need Santa, and we need our words. Now the presents are going to glue flat. They are going to go at the bottom, slightly tucked under, and we're going to cover the bottom of the circle. So that's going to be flat. We're just going to put some glue on the back of that. Come on. Okay, so a little bit of glue. Cover up the bottom of the circle. Now we're going to bring Santa and all his lovely presents in. And for this, we also need double foam tape. Oh, Margaret, you know, I always get people saying that. Oh, I wish I had bought it. And then it's always sold out. So make sure you have the Bumblebee kit. The Bumblebee kit is next week. I'm super excited for that one. Okay. That might be a little too high. Bumblebee is going to be fantastic. All right. So what I've done is I put a double piece of foam tape there. I didn't go right to the bottom, as you can see, and I'll explain why in a sec. He's going to sit right here. Oop, I need to trim back a little bit. And underneath his leg there, we're going to need to add a little bit of double. So what I just cut off, I'm just going to put there. That is also double. What I want you to do is kind of hold it there and see what happens. And we don't want his leg hanging out in midair. The rest of it just gets normal glue. Oop, I'm at 2 minutes over. We just have our greeting. We're almost done. Okay, so under his leg, I have 2 times. I have 2 times on the card. I'm going to put him down, and here's something that I'm always very cautious of. I want to make sure that I don't see that tip of the tag between his legs. So if it's there, you can either snip it off, squish him, make sure he fits everywhere okay. And then those presents are just going to carry over into the green presents. Tree is poking out behind him. The last part that we're going to do, which can be a little bit tricky, is we are going to add the Christmas wishes right here. Now, as you can see, where it hits the circle, I'm going to want a little bit of foam tape. I did not foam tape under the word Christmas, but under those last couple of letters, we're going to take some foam. Actually, I have a little bit here, and I'm going to use the strips, and we're just going to put it at the end of the word. So I'm going to put it from, we're not going to put any foam tape under the W, and no foam tape under the I. And then just a couple of little pieces. We don't need a huge amount. It'll be okay. Under the H. And maybe a tiny piece. This was from our Crafty Hour using Uniquely Creative. We put together a special kit using die cuts, papers, gems, all kinds of gorgeous stuff. Oop, that one's a little too big. Just a little one. If you have the micro dots, that would be handy too. And then just a smidge of glue. I'm just going to lightly drag and make a mess because I didn't bring my sticky specs. And you know what's nice about the lines? Oh gosh, I made a mess there. What's nice about the lines, I'm going to have to erase that, is that you can line up your greeting fairly easy. I got a little carried away with my glue because I didn't bring my glue press. Now you can add in the gems that we gave you if you want, or you can add in the silver. I did the silver. I did 3 different sizes. Just created a little triangle. Where's another one? Just kind of off to the corner. Oh, I made a mess with that. All right, I am 5 minutes over. My apologies, but we did get, so let's bring all the 3 different cards in. We did get all 3 cards created. Again, I want to thank you all so much for your patience in letting me postpone our Crafty Hour number 70 from last Thursday to today. So thank you guys all so much. I do hope you guys have lots of leftovers, so I do hope that you guys create more. I'm just bringing all of these in. This guy is so cute, and he has a matching die cut that fits over it. I was going to create that card too, but again, got sidetracked last week, so did not. And you have some cards in envelopes, and you have some gems, and you have some more die cuts left over. So please create some cards. Throw them into our Crafty Hour Creations page so that everybody can get some inspiration from you. There's lots of words in there as well. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys like them. And again, thank you for being very patient. Now, next Thursday, I have a back-to-back. So next Thursday, we are using the Bumblebee kits. I don't know if Courtney has any left. I think we just got in a few more this past week, so we might have a handful of kits left. Very popular one, and the kit is full, just full of goodies. So hopefully you guys tune in for next week's Bumblebee class. That's going to be with Courtney and myself, and then next Friday we will also have a new release, so we're very excited for that one. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in for Crafty Hour number 70. Deanna from Clipper Street. Have a great one. Bye-bye.